so we talk about Hellraiser. So Hellraiser, if you like the original, is this new one worth watching? Now you're a bit of a hardcore Hellraiser fan, aren't you, compared to me, actually? Because for me, while I vaguely remember the original, I think I saw it a couple of years after it came out on video or DVD or whatever. It would have been video, I guess.
Yeah.
Vaguely remember a little imagery from it, with actually really remembering the story so much. Not watched any of the sequels. Not really that bothered. It's not my sort of thing.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
But I was curious about this one, because I'd heard some good words about it, so I gave this a try. So, where are you coming to this new Hellraiser?
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not a mega fanboy, and with all of these things, yeah, Hellraiser 1 and 2 are good. The rest of them, not so much. Yeah, love them. And the Clive Barker, so I've also read the Clive Barker books, and in it was all about the sensation of experiencing everything in life. And the whole point of this the Cenobites and the cube and all that was the extremes of sensory things, like being like the edge between torture and pleasure, all of that. So
well, for a start, that you saying that makes my opinion of the remake go down a little bit, because I don't feel that comes across in the new one at all.
No, I mean, again, I may be getting some of the book. No, it's definitely in the first film, actually, because there's lots of sort of Clive Barker's sexual overtones in it. It's all about S&M and all of that. So, but the first two films are quite dated. So I saw this. I seen the gender swap Pinhead. I heard a lot of good things about it. What was it? An hour and a half. Do you know what I did like about it straight away from the off is, and I'm trying to put this as politely as I can, it was all the actors looked like normal people, not like super models, or all the guys weren't extra ripped and hunky, and all the women weren't like
and also what you don't get that trope which you see a lot in modern American horrors, that they're just trying to appeal to high school age and teen, where you have a very pretty but dim girl who is just going to be cannon fodder for the bad guy. And you don't get that, do you, at all? No. They're a little bit more broken, the people are in this, aren't they?
So I watched this with my son, and he was asking questions here and there through it, because I did feel like it was a little patchy in story. He was like, what's going? Why are they doing this? What's going on with that? And I said, well, the cube is. I mean, in this they've changed it, haven't they, from a cube to other sort of shapes now?
Oh well, see that I don't even remember whether the cube changed shape in the old one or not. So things like that I didn't pick up on being different.
No, so it was always a cube. Although in Hellraiser 2 it became I don't know what the proper term, like a pointed, two-pointed thing. Like so wide in the middle and points at top and bottom. That became it when they were in hell. But apart from that, it was always a cube. So he was like, what about this? So I was telling him about it. So I didn't feel like that came up. It really suffered from walking slowly at enemies, didn't it? But I don't know whether that would just scare. It's like, ooh, someone's just appeared out of nowhere and they've got pins all over their head and they're walking very slowly. I was like,
that's
okay.
That's a good point, because you know how a lot of zombies tend to run now in a lot of films, but they don't need to. I mean, I'm fine with that, but slow zombies have got that sort of relentless, they're going to get you no matter what, dread about them. But with these guys, when they're walking slowly, I just felt like, well, you're just going to run away. Obviously, I mean, I suppose they don't kill them by necessarily catching up with you, because, I mean, they're inconsistent with that, because one minute they kind of are. There's one that's sort of grabbing somebody and taking a bite out of his arm like they are personally attacking you.
Yeah.
But the other times, they just sort of stand in the middle distance, then all of a sudden a magic door opens next to you and some chains go and rip you apart. So,
and then in another instance,
could you outrun them or not? Then I don't know.
And then in another instance, they trap one of the Cenobites in like a metal gate, don't they, or something? And you're like, okay, but I thought these guys.
Well, why would that matter if they can just get chains ripping you apart?
I'm kind of razzing on this a bit harder than I meant to. Like, do you know what? I actually quite enjoyed it. Was it the best film I've ever seen? No. Was it a little bit uneasy through and through? Yeah. Will I go out and buy the 4K Blu-ray? No. Did I enjoy it while I was watching? Yeah. Was it terrifying? No. And if anything, more than anything, I was quite interested to see what the special effects were like. I think that was
the thing is this. I I mean, the criteria for this then really is, well, is it a good remake? Is it following on the tradition of the original book? If it's a fresh adaptation of the book, does it do that job? Is it horror? Is it scary? Is it a mystery? Is it interesting? Is it a thriller? Is it thrilling? And I don't find it actually works that well. I mean, I can't be too harsh comparing it to the original because I don't know. I was aware of what
it's just not even a retelling, but just another story in the same universe.
I thought it was interesting how the Cenobites, the bad guys, have got like rather than you said like the original had a bit more of an S&M tinge to it. So all the leather gear, they got rid of all that stuff, and they're all sort of naked, but it's almost like the skin had all been peeled into weird shapes. You've got these strings. Yeah, so body modification taken to the extreme. So if the leather scene was a bit more relevant when the book was originally written, having the body modification stuff updated, I thought that was quite a nice idea. I didn't really like the main character. I felt like a lot of the characters just had slightly shouty rows.
They did, didn't they?
I think the dialogue was pretty poor. So I don't know if they were weak actors or just had weak dialogue. Because she'd come home, she was like she's in rehab, wasn't she? And she was dating someone who's in rehab as well. And then like her brother's just having a bit of a shout at her, and then she shouts back, and the next day has another shout and shouts at her to go out, and she just shouts, "I'm not coming back." And it felt like a little bit like a soap opera EastEnders shouting sometimes. I thought that was a bit weak.
Although what I will say,
fine with the new Pinhead. I mean, I mean, I don't think horror fans have bothered or cared about gender swapping of Pinhead. It seems completely irrelevant because whether it's a boy or a girl or it's androgynous, it makes no difference anyway. Had the look of the Pinhead is still effective. It's still a good visual, isn't it? It's still quite striking. That still works. I think some of the deaths and things. So from a horror point, did it scratch your? What's the word I'm looking for? Did it? If you're itching for some gore, then does it satisfy that itch for some gory kills? I suppose is what I'm trying to get at. From that point of view, not really. I mean, there's something disgusting about hooks in your body, you being pulled apart, and the skin being peeled off stuff is kind of gross. I didn't really care about the characters though to feel particularly tense. I just felt like, you're going down a corridor. If you're going to get killed, come on, just get on with it. And I didn't feel any build-up of suspense or anything.
I'm referencing the original. I think with the original, especially the original one, it's got that really sort of low-budget style to it that almost makes it like a bit of a video nasty or something. Because it's low budget and they're not really famous actors, you think, how's this going to go? And it's got that weird body horror S&M. But of course, that was been in the 80s. We've watched every single horror film under the sun since then. So whether we're just trying to get more and more out of it, I don't know. I mean,
I don't really buy the whole the main character who is trying to get more pleasure, and there's just like this deal that you're making with the Cenobites that they're basically that the idea that perhaps they are getting pleasure and pain mixed up wasn't really clear. It didn't come across like it was like extreme pleasures that are borderline pain. It almost felt like they were just sort of tricking you, going, if you solve this box, you'll get some great pleasures. Zoink, I'm actually going to kill you instead.
It's always a deal with the devil, isn't there?
Yeah, but that didn't feel like they didn't try and make the horror element sexy. And I think it could have done with that maybe a little bit more. I think it should have been a bit fruitier.
Yes. No, I think
more
you're
fruit.
you're exactly right.
More fruit needed.
More fruit.
That's the quote for them.
Not sexy. The kills weren't sexy enough. Come on then, Rob. What? How many non-sexy kills out of 10 do you want to give this?
Non-sexy kills out of 10. I'd probably only give it a 5.
Yeah.
I honestly was barely holding my attention. It didn't pass the wife test at all. She was in the room, wasn't really interested in it, but got even less interested when it was on. Like, this isn't very good. I'm off. And I watched it with my son, and he was a bit disappointed. He was sort of more of the champion for it. He was more interested to see it than I was, and I was kind of curious, and he was quite keen to hear it because he'd heard some good things about it. We were both a bit disappointed in it, really.
I think it's better saving grace was that it wasn't that long either, so that was an easy watch, wasn't it? Now,
it was about 2 hours,
How was it? I thought it was only like 1 hour 40.
Yeah. So what would you rate? A bit higher than 5 then?
Yeah, 5, 6. It was fine. It was fine. I'm probably giving it a bit of a hard time. It was absolutely fine, and probably for the new generation of younger viewers, fine.
Because they're not going to like the original. This is the thing. Because with someone's like, well, do I need to watch the original first? I was like, I don't think you'll like the original.
Really.
We watched the trailer on YouTube, and it's
dated. So
and it's hard to tell, is the film really dated, or is it the old 80s style way of doing trailers is really dated?
I think the film. Well, I did watch Hellraiser 2 not so long ago, and it's still good, but it is dated. But there we go.